just so busy. So I was thinking, since it was Good Friday today, and this is Easter weekend, I was just figuring that things would be not so busy, and it wasn't very busy this week for me, but today it just picked up, and I've got a few more jobs. And then, of course, I've told Mom that I have I've got a new part-time job. Did you guys know that, Damon?
What's your part-time job?
My new part-time job is going to the doctor and dentist.
Oh.
I turned 62 last week.
Okay.
And so old people, that's kind of what we do, is we just go to the dentist.
So when you say
the doctor.
So when you say you were busy, does that mean you had one?
No,
you had one
I'm not
appointment on Thursday, and you had to clear your whole schedule out.
I get what you're saying.
I got shopping on Monday, and then
got a doctor's appointment,
I'm
2 months.
booked.
Yeah, that's kind of how us old people. I do think that I'm getting old, and there's a couple of reasons other than I go to the dentist and doctor a lot, and that is, whenever I see a stick fall outside, I've got to go pick it up. Got to keep my lawn clean, and going out, especially since I work from home, going out to get the mail is just a critically important part of my
It's your treat. And if you don't get to do it and somebody does it for you, they will incur the wrath of Todd.
Yeah. But I went and got some, whatever it is, that hot stuff that they put on, liquid nitrogen, I think they put on pre-cancer spots. I had my annual physical yesterday. And so that's always fun. I went to the dentist. I've got to have an implant. I got a bite splint. It's something to look forward to.
How are we going to pay
you
for
guys?
that?
Good boy. I've got to get down and do some more voiceover work. There's no doubt about it. So that's something to look forward to when you get older, is you get to be busier by having a part-time job going to the doctor and dentist. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about what we've got going on today?
Oh, that's right.
We've got your
I
Todd's tips.
forgot we were having a podcast.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was all about you.
All my problems.
You've got something for us for Todd's tips, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I'm going to share some stats today.
From your business.
Yep.
Okay. And then we've got Mike Hathcote.
Yep.
For an interview. So looking forward to that. And then we've got, numbers.
Got numbers. Do we want to say?
Got a surprise guests. Well, John's been on a couple times. Not much of a surprise anymore.
True.
But Drew, the second oldest Barsness boy. So there's John, Drew, Joe, then me, and then there's Demond
behind the camera.
Demond,
come on out here.
Yeah.
Just
say hi again, just so people don't forget who you are.
And then Deshaun.
So we'll have, what was that? 4 out of the 6 boys working on the podcast today. So
that'll be fun.
Anyways, without any more wasting of time, let's get right to it.
Let's do it.
Hey, this is Bill DeWees, pro voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. And this is the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast.
Welcome to the original Father-Son Voiceover Podcast. I'm Hudson, and that's my dad, Todd. And this is just a space where father and son talk about all things voiceover and maybe a little bit more. So we hope to do that here in this episode. So what we'll do is we will start off, Dad, with your tips for us, Todd's tips.
Yeah, and then later on, we've got an interview with Mike Hathcote.
We sure do.
He's a Telly award-winning voiceover talent and a pro skateboarder.
Yeah, which is
amazing.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, and then we've got John back with his numbers for VO Marketing Pro, your numbers, my numbers, and we have a surprise guest that's going to be on the couch again today.
Yeah.
Won't be able to see him, just hear him again.
And I think I was trying to figure out maybe some names we could come up for the people who sit on the couch. And what came into mind was they'd be the couch potatoes on our podcast. I know that's really
very original.
Very original.
Creative.
But, Yeah, and then we'd have the couch cam. So once we get that camera, that was just something that popped into my head, and I thought that might be. I guess it's only interesting to me. All right.
Well, it's your podcast, so you can kind of do what you want to do with it.
Yeah, I struggled to not name it the Hudson Barsness Podcast because, I mean, it's all about me.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if this will be so easy to walk through, but hopefully we'll be able to put some numbers up on the screen so you can see this, and hopefully I can make some sense, and it'll be maybe an encouragement to you. But, I've built a pretty large chunk of in fact, a huge chunk of my voiceover business on direct email marketing. In fact, that's why we started VO Marketing Pro, our other business. And as we said, we'll hear from John and Drew from VO Marketing Pro coming up a little bit later. But I'm always trying to learn new things and improve. And so a couple of weeks ago, I had my assistant, Andy, get back in front of all of my new clients from 2021. I always keep track of all my new clients, of course, because they're clients. And then I want to get back in front of those people. I want to have a plan to get back in front of those people that only used me once. Okay. And so that's what this is all about. And just a few pieces of encouragement as you do direct email marketing or have somebody else do it for you. And just some encouragement on how to do that and some interesting information. So in 2021, I had 50 new clients. 50 new clients. Now, that was down actually from the years before that. And the reason it was down was because for the second half of the year, I put all my marketing efforts aside, direct email marketing efforts, because we were working on getting VOMP up and running and, sustainable. And then you started your...
And you were helping me with that.
Yeah. And so I kind of put that aside. In fact, a lot of my direct email marketing went to VOMP and their voice roster, and we'll hear more about that later. But I had 50 new clients, and then in 2021, I had 21 recurring clients. In other words, people that used me more than once. Understand?
Yeah.
And in 2021, the recurring clients number of projects, so those 21 clients that came back, they used me a total of 87 projects.
Wow.
Yeah. And my recurring clients' total income to date is $23,597.40. That's what all of my new 2021 recurring clients have come up with as far as projects for me and money, $23,597.40. So here's, I guess, the point. Oh, by the way, just one other interesting thing. It cost my company, Todd Barsness Voiceover Talent, about an hour of work for me to come up with a template and then have my assistant send it out. It took him about a half an hour. So together about an hour. And I received one job response so far from the 29 that only used me once from last year. And that was a $350 job.
Nice.
And so it seems like it was worth it.
And
so,
yeah,
go ahead.
Know that those 28 other ones probably won't go to waste. They'll, we remember using Todd. So those are like extra gold that maybe will show up in the next couple months or even maybe next year. Who knows?
The point being is I just didn't, once they stopped using me from last year, I just got back in front of them. Obviously, I didn't get back in front of the ones that are continuing to use me. That would look weird. But I did get in front of the ones that didn't use me a second time. So here's some other things. Then, and we won't belabor the point here too long, but I spend about $15,000 each year in direct email marketing. $15,000 basically to pay my assistant, Andy. So I spent $15,000 in 2021, and my ROI so far is $23,597.40. So the total difference is $8,597.40 so far. Now, it's probably going to be better than that because each time somebody comes back, these recurring clients that have used me, some of them many times already, 5, 6, 8 times already, they're going to keep providing me work. And so that ROI is just going to continue to grow. Now, just a few caveats, just so you can kind of know the behind the scenes things. My assistant, Andy, sent out thousands of direct email marketing emails last year, thousands. And that's what you have to do. We've talked about that a lot. Bill DeWees, our guest the last couple of weeks, talked about that. It's the funnel approach. Lots on top. A few come down the pike, if you will, or the funnel, and then you cultivate those, and those become recurring clients. And that's how you slowly but surely build your business. Some of these clients, and here's an important thing, some of these clients from 2021, the 50 new clients that I had, have been contacted anywhere from 5, 10, 15 times over the years. And I could go back and check with my assistant, and he would be able to say, so-and-so that used you for the first time in 2021 and is using you again, the first time you contacted them was in July of 2017 or March of 2018. So he could tell me how many touches it took to get that person to become a client. My point being, it sometimes isn't just a first time thing. A lot of times it's getting in front of them over and over and over again. So direct email marketing takes organization and discipline. Just like a budget, just like being physically fit, organization and discipline. Not fun, no secret sauce. It's simple, but it's not easy. Mm-hmm. And it also takes perseverance, as we say in VOMP, perseverance, persistence, and patience. And it does pay off, though. And so I work diligently at keeping my clients coming back, because recurring clients are gold. They're the best, because as a company, you're not spending any money any longer to get them. They're just bringing money in. The ones that are not recurring, or are the warm replies, warm leads, or maybe the cold leads that you've sent something and haven't heard anything back, you have to keep spending money to get those. Yeah. And so the whole point is, and you know this, you guys know this, that you have to make sure that you do your best with those recurring clients to service them well. Don't take them for granted, because they're money in the bank, and they just keep growing and growing and growing your business.
Yeah, and if you treat them well, they'll treat you well, and that's what you're talking about, obviously. Yeah.
Exactly, and sometimes your name even gets out there with other people. They have friends, they have contacts, they have acquaintances that are doing production that need voiceover, and they say, hey, why don't you try Todd or Hudson or anybody else that's out there listening? It's just a great way to build your business. So building and maintaining a direct email marketing book of business not only helps diversify my income streams, so I've got voices.com and Fiverr and my direct email marketing, but it's also actually, as I say all the time, it's diversity within diversity, because I'm not dependent on just one person. I have many, many clients in my direct email marketing book of business. If one goes out of business or whatever, doesn't use me anymore, I have 5, 10, 15, 30, 100 that fill in, and I keep getting more. And it also, direct email marketing smooths out, and this is what I found over the years, and this is my last point, is instead of market, do your job, and then no jobs, market, get a job, no jobs. What it does is, as you do that more and more and you get recurring clients, it goes more like this rather than like this, like it was the first couple of years. And you find that out too, don't you? Where you do some marketing, you get a job, and then you just have to keep marketing every single day. Whenever you have time, you got to keep doing that. So anyway, I hope those things are just a little encouraging and insightful. And again, if you have any questions or comments, we are glad to hear your feedback. And if we can help at all, we're also glad to field questions, and we can come back if people have questions about this or anything else. We can come back and either have somebody that can answer it. I'm not an expert in a whole lot of things, and you're not an expert in voiceover yet. And so we might have to farm it out a little bit, but we can always have an interview with somebody, or there are some things that I know and I can help people with, and you do too. So
yeah, that might give us ideas of who, like you said, experts to come on, whether it's you have questions about Fiverr or Upwork or other, even like equipment to get or stuff like that. If you ask those questions, then we, have an idea of what maybe we can move things around in our podcast to help answer your questions. So that's
a little bit about what I do with direct email marketing, and hopefully that will be helpful to people.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Coming up next, we've got our interview with the Telly Award winner, Mike Hathcote.
Hi, I'm Rady Scott, and I'll be a guest on the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. If you're interested, join us for my interview. See you there.
We are the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast, and we have a interesting guest that we had on this week that we got to interview. His name is Mike Hathcote. He is a pro skateboarder, which was very interesting to learn, and then also he won a Telly Award. So he'll get into more detail about what that is, and then also some coaching opportunities that he offers for people, especially for social media, and then also a new clothing brand that is
voiceover related. Yeah, that's interesting.
We will have those links. He's going to talk about it in his interview. And without further ado, let's get to Mike Hathcote.
There he is.
He's in his hobo fort.
Well,
And hey, you live in Phoenix.
yeah.
So we went out to Wilcox down southeast of Tucson,
Okay.
about 90 minutes.
Okay.
It's not far from the Mexican border.
Right.
And we went out there in 2004 as a family. And I always thought, and you probably hear this a lot, I always thought that Arizona was like dust and cactus and things like that. And I was just absolutely awestruck because we went up to the Grand Canyon, then we came back down the other way, and it was just so many different scenes. It was just
it's a lot.
Beautiful state.
Yeah. Flagstaff is great up at the Grand Canyon. I mean, tons of like greenery and I mean, it snows up there in the wintertime a bunch. But it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not from here originally, but I've been here for about 12 years, but yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Knoxville, Tennessee, originally.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Got it. Yeah. Because we were down in Phoenix and such, and then we went up the west side to Flagstaff, and it's almost like Wisconsin. It's almost like Upper Michigan.
Yeah, it's a totally different deal.
And then you come down the other side, and it's like red granite, and you could imagine just the cowboys, type westerns type.
Yeah,
it's just a beautiful state. It's amazing.
Another really cool place to go is I just drew a blank. Sedona. Sedona is great.
Okay.
Sedona is cool because it reminds me of like the old Roadrunner cartoons, like all the red rocks and the big, just jutting up out of the desert and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Lots of cool scenery out there.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. I hope we aren't stealing too much of your recording time.
Not at all. Not at all. I had a few things this morning and I'm about to take a lunch break. So I'm good.
Good.
Does skateboarding have anything to do with that lunch break or no?
Not today. I'm actually recovering from some broken ribs and a punctured lung from 3 weeks ago. And so I won't be skating for another probably 2-3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been skating for?
40 years.
40 years.
Yeah, 40 years. So did it professionally in the early 90s and just worked in the industry for a while, owned my own skate park, worked for the X Games and stuff like that. But then I had to get a real job. And so, that's what it is.
I watched you in your swimming pool and your kind of skate park. That was scary. That was very scary to me. It was very scary what you were doing there.
It can be, but it's, it's fun. And when you've been doing it for as long as I have, it's just second nature, but still get hurt from time to time. So got to pay to play.
Yeah. And Ringo, your dog, was chasing you around on that video. And then you showed us via Facebook your area down there, your work area and your booth. And I saw a picture of the Beatles on there.
Yeah.
I think you have a picture of the Beatles on your wall. Is that any connection, Ringo? And
absolutely.
Okay. I figured so, but I wasn't 100%.
That's exactly. I'm a huge Beatles fan. And so, what other, I know John, Paul, or George maybe, but Ringo is the best name for a dog.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good point.
So a question for you. How has your injury affected your voiceover stuff? I'm curious about that.
I was kind of worried when it first happened that I wasn't going to be able to work. And of course, other than being in the hospital when it happened, I missed 2 days of work. But when I got home and was able to actually work, do work, I haven't actually had much problem. It still hurts to breathe like all the way in, and take a real deep breath, and it hurts to breathe all the way out. But overall, yeah, I haven't really missed much work at all, other than when I was actually not here, which, that's going to be the case, but yeah, not too bad.
Okay.
How long?
It's still a little bit painful. Like, it's still, I haven't been on pain meds probably since about 10 days now. I just don't like them. So trying to power through it.
How long were you in the hospital? Did you say?
2 days. 3 days. Yeah. It was a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Is that a fairly common injury for skateboarders, or was that a little bit unusual?
That's pretty unusual, actually, because I've been skating for 40 years, and that's the first time, knock on wood, that I have ever landed on my ribs like that. And, so hopefully that's the first and last. And, but usually it's ankles, knees, wrists, elbows, which I've, injured all of those, but, ribs are a little different situation.
Are you an anomaly for, your age? I won't say your age, but are you an anomaly getting a little bit older doing that kind of skateboarding? Or are there a lot of guys that did it, professionally and are just really good at it and can get away with doing it at your age?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people doing it, either whether they used to do it professionally or not. I mean, and I don't mind telling, I'm 50, I just turned 50 in December. So, but there are people way older than me who still do it at a much higher level than me.
Really? Okay.
In fact, one of the things that I did earlier, on one of the DeWees, webinars, is I mentioned that there's a new documentary out on, if you have HBO or HBO Max, on Tony Hawk, who is now 53, about to turn 54. And he's doing it at a much, much higher level. But the documentary is great because I'm a skateboarder, I kind of tend to think of things in that way. And there's a lot of similarities to being a skateboarder to being a voiceover talent. And that may be like, what are you talking about? But when it comes to learning how to do tricks, skateboard tricks, you have to do it over and over and over again until you actually get it. And it really teaches you that, stick-to-itiveness, that ability to just, fall down over and over again and get up and keep going. And so that's what I tried to tell the people on that webinar, was that when it comes to voiceover, especially in marketing, and even just doing auditioning and stuff like that, you got to do it a lot and over it again, and not have that. You got to have thick skin and just keep willing to move forward, and next one and not dwell on the past and keep moving forward. And so I actually, encourage them to watch that documentary. I mean, it's enjoyable anyway, whether you're a skater or not, just seeing his rise to fame and whatnot. But there's a lot of similarities, a lot of crossover there. So there's a plug for Tony.
Yeah. And being an athlete is, I'm not saying it's critical, but it sure helps, kind of a mental toughness that you have to have. And get up when you get knocked down type mentality. Hudson and I were basketball, football, he still is. I was a basketball, football, baseball player in high school and college. And that I think that just helps. And that's what I'm kind of hearing you say a little bit too about that.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. I mean, I think my training and love for skateboarding over the years has given me that ability to just kind of, rise above adversity and just keep pushing forward. And it's helped me a lot.
Yeah. Good for you. Hudson, you had some other questions about like LinkedIn and coaching, or maybe you wanted to go in a different direction. But
yeah, well, we could maybe do that. If we could, Mike, at the end, before we're done, I was wondering if you would want to kind of plug your coaching for LinkedIn, your semi-pro demos or whatever you do. And then we could run that as a little commercial on our podcast if you wanted to. If you didn't want to, we totally understand, but we thought
that's fine too.
If you don't mind.
I've actually got another little plug for you. I just started, and Hudson, I think you've already been following this, but the VO merch website with all the different VO merch stuff, like this t-shirt, where I was just out there looking for like cool voiceover related stuff, gear to wear. And I couldn't find anything cool. And so I was like, well, I guess necessity is the mother of invention, and I'll just go ahead and just put something together and make it. And so I got with a buddy of mine who's a graphic designer, and we started putting a few ideas together. And sure, after a while, we got a website. It's just vomerch.com. So all kinds of stuff. So check it out.
Yeah, I wondered if that was you or not, or if something you just liked, or So, and then I guess that so we'll do that at the end if that's okay. And
that's fine.
And then maybe we can have you send us your links, whatever.
Okay.
But I just wanted to know, how did you you talked about it before, about getting a real job, but how did you get into VO, and where did you find out that was like a viable how do I say this?
Career.
A viable career for you? Yeah.
Well, I started in radio in 1995, in my early 20s. And so I thought at the time that that's kind of the way I wanted to have my career go, was just in radio. And so I did that for several years, just on a part-time basis. And that was also the time that I was really heavily into skating. And so I figured at the time that while I was young and, breakable, that I could go do the skateboarding thing, while my body would allow it. And so I kind of dropped radio for a while and went off on the skate thing for years and years. And then always did VO kind of as a side hustle, just word of mouth. I didn't really hit it hard, and then about 10 years ago, I'd say, I started thinking a little more serious about it. And I mean, I always knew that it could be a career, that you could do it as a profession and do it full time and stuff, but I just had no idea how to do it. Mm-hmm. So I went online like most people do and just started researching it, and came across a few different options. And I ended up getting bit by a demo mill. And we've all heard of those, right? Where they tell you, oh yeah, just, pay us $5,000. And at the end of the weekend, you'll have a demo that you can go out and make millions in voiceover. And I was like, well, okay, cool. So I tried that, got a demo done, and it was not great. It was mediocre at best. So I found Bill DeWees through one of his YouTube videos and started kind of following him, and reached out to him to have him listen to my current demo and give me some pointers, and then did some coaching with him. And we ended up doing a new demo. And then immediately, once I did the blueprint and got that new demo, things started to take off. And I just started putting those practices in place, and started doing so well that he asked me to kind of come on board and kind of help do some of the stuff that he was doing, some of the webinars and things like that. And here we are. I mean, I've been doing it now full time for almost 6 years, and loving it.
Yeah, I haven't been in voiceover for long, but I've had kind of the luxury of my dad being in it for 12 years and him following Bill as well and stuff like that. So I hadn't heard of, I could guess that there's, people trying to, dupe you like that and say, oh, this is the greatest thing. But that's not something that I, was, opened up to, fortunately. So
yeah. There's plenty of people that I've talked to and coached and whatnot who have also been a victim of that. So I'm very sensitive to making sure that people do not get into that kind of a situation, because it was just a big waste of money for me. But lesson learned, and we'll just chalk it up to that.
Yeah. Now you can be a kind of a watchdog for other people too, because
totally
they are out there, no doubt about it. Yeah,
they really are. Yeah.
Oh. Do you have something to add that you were going to say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I asked you in that sheet that I sent you, asked you about your best and worst clients. And I wanted to hear a little bit more about your best client. I know you said that it was real short and easygoing and stuff like that, but I just wanted to hear maybe a little bit more about that, just so we can get to know you a little bit better, stuff like that too.
Yeah. I would say that my best, well, it's kind of, what do you consider best? Is it, easiest to work with, highest paying, there's a lot of ways to go, but
sure.
I would say that my my best paying work and the easiest job I've ever done was a job. I think I did it late last year, maybe November of last year. And it was for just a regional car wash. It was just nothing fancy schmancy. In fact, I'd never even heard of them. It was a company called Quick Quack. I don't even know. And they were a kind of a regional car wash, but because they were going to be in a lot of different markets, we did a directed session, and the directed session literally took about 10 minutes. It was a 15-second ad, paid $2,000. Oh. So the directed session was literally 10 minutes, source connect, in and out. So 10 minutes of work for $2,000. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah. Those are pretty good.
So that was, probably my best as far as, overall. Plus he was really cool to work with. I mean, he was very easygoing. And, it's funny that a lot of the higher paying gigs are the ones that are very kind of, they're not nitpicky, when they get what they like, they just move on, and then some of the ones that are on the other end of the scale are the ones who you have to worry about just nitpicking the crap out of your work, and it is what it is, I guess, but got to do all of it.
The good ones, don't you think, Mike, they've gone through the process. They want your voice. They want to work with you. They've got their branding. They've got their script. It's gone through the process. They know what they want. They get on there and get out. That's what I found too. And it's the ones that, are, hey, do you think you could do this for a little less right away? It's like, oh boy, I wonder what this is going to be like. Yeah.
Red flag, number one. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And I think it is because they are on a different level. They do this for a living, day in and day out. They have a system in place where, they've got a good copywriter. They've got somebody that knows how everything is supposed to be. The engineer's on point, moving right down the line as you're doing your read, and you're done.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I guess that would obviously be like you said, the opposite one. You had multiple people. I've done a couple of directed sessions, and I've also, in my short time as a voiceover artist, had some of those where it's like they're looking for a bargain, and then like I'm not like the greatest VO talent, but so they're trying to like, dicker you down. And you said that you had a session that you had to do for a video game that was with multiple different people. That sounds like a nightmare.
That was the hardest job I've ever had to do. My brain was scrambled by the end of that. First of all, I had to do it really late at night because of the time difference, there were 3 different continents. So like we had to really find a spot that, anyway, so yeah, it was a video game trailer, and this is on my website. It came out great. I mean, the end product came out really well, but it was my agent, the engineer, the translator, and then the end client were all on the call. Now, the translator was there because the end client was Chinese. And so they had sent me a scratch track on the video of let me think about this. It was their scratch track in Chinese with a subtitle in English that I had to listen to and try to mimic the emotion that was going on. But it was, even though it was in Chinese, and read the subtitles at the same time, and like pause, play, because we didn't want to bleed through with the background music and stuff that was already going on. And it took, I don't know, probably 2 hours to do it, but it was just, I had to read it. I had to wait for the translator to kind of, translate the direction back and forth. It was just crazy. And, but like I said, it came out well. It's like I said, it's on my website. It's, I think it just is labeled video game trailer or something like that, but it's for a game called Life After. And it was this post-apocalyptic zombie game, one of those types. But anyway, It's crazy, but
at least you got something out of it. Because sometimes you don't get anything, like it's an internal thing or it's something you never can find. And then at least you can use it. The end product was something you could, put on your website. So good for you on that one.
Yeah. I always ask, sometimes they can't, like you said, if it's an internal only, e-learning or something, you can't really see the final thing. But anything commercial or anything that's going to be public facing, ask for it. And then sometimes I'll actually just go out and just see if I can find it in the wild.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can. And so even if they didn't send it directly to you, you can find it on YouTube, download it, and then you have it. I always tell people in fact, in the marketing or in the social media class that I did, I always suggest if you find one of your jobs on YouTube to download it and keep it locally, because if that company ever goes out of business and shuts down their YouTube page, it's gone forever.
Yeah, right.
So download it, keep it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hey, Hudson, I was thinking too, as we get closer to, having the time done here on our call, our interview, I was wondering, maybe you've got a bunch of questions yet, but I was really interested, and maybe this is putting Mike on the spot and he can dance around it if he wants to, but I was really interested in your question to him about him not being on platforms at all. Is that true, Mike?
That's the last one I have.
Yep. Yeah. I'd be really interested in hearing just what you're thinking about that, Mike, and kind of hearing your mind work on that one.
I would so much prefer spending time, instead of doing cattle call auditions and things like that. I would much rather spend that time going out and doing direct marketing and finding people who I can work with directly that are, number one, going to be easier to work with, that are going to pay more, and will hopefully turn into repeat business. The lion's share of the work that I do is from people that I've kind of built up over the years, just doing direct marketing, which is also why I use you guys, VOMP, to actually do some of that for me, because I'm so busy recording now that I kind of got into a situation where I didn't have time to do it as much as I should or could used to. And I always want to have that kind of going on the back end, right? I always want to keep that pipeline stoked. And so I just think direct marketing is the way to do this. And also I'm just not a fan of how the business model works on a lot of those platforms. To each their own. It's just that's my personal opinion. But I've seen a lot of new talent jump on these platforms, and, after 200 auditions, they haven't gotten any work, and they think it's them. They think it's, I just must be terrible. I'm just going to quit.
Yeah.
And that may not be the case. It's just the sheer volume of people you're up against on those things. And so I'd rather go up against 10 different talent than, 1,000 for the same job.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's a good point. That's a good point about it not being like people, because I can think that way being new. I'm on Fiverr, and I was a level 1 as you start out, and it's like I was actually getting a fair amount of work, and then now as a level 2, I had one order canceled, and it's like I can't get out of the doghouse, and so it's like, is it my fault? Like, do I really not sound that great, or is it just it's their business?
It's not. I'll tell you that right now. It's not you. It's a way to, and especially pay to plays. I'm really not a fan of the way they tend to tilt the playing field towards the people who pay like the higher, the platinum fees and all that kind of stuff, to get first crack at everything. And it's also really not geared towards people who work part-time at this and are trying to get into full-time.
Correct.
Because you got to get those auditions in fast, if you want to get heard and hopefully hired. I mean, I've been on all of them. When I first started doing this, I did what most people do and signed up for Voice 123 and voices.com and, VO Planet and some of the others. And I got work on them, but I was also doing it full time. And if you're working a quote unquote real job and you get an audition opportunity in the middle of the day and you can't reply to it for 6 hours until you get home, chances are somebody's already been chosen for that job. And so you're just like, well, what do I do? So just not a big fan of that. I'd rather take matters into my own hands and not have to work within the confines of some of the rules and stuff of these platforms. So
yeah, and one of the things that I found with being on Fiverr, this last year I made $112,000 on Fiverr, but the problem is it starts to kind of consume you.
Oh yeah.
And I get very nervous, and I tell people this, and I keep holding back on Fiverr, which sounds crazy for some people. I try to kind of manage it. It's like a tiger by the tail, and I don't want it to eat up all my income streams, because what happens if Fiverr decides to change or put me in the doghouse? I'm in big trouble. Yep. And what I say about direct email marketing is it's diversity within diversity. If one company goes out of business, sure, that might hurt you, especially if you've gotten repeat business with them. But you can go on to the next one, or you might have a basket full of other eggs, if you will, where if you're on just voices.com or Voice123 or Fiverr, and it becomes just explosive. What if you're making over $100,000? Wow, that's super. But what if it tanks or goes in the dog, you go in the doghouse? That's my biggest concern with those.
Totally. Yeah, your business is done if that's the case. If you rely on one thing, whatever it may be. So, one of the things Bill talks about, that's one of the things I talk about is, multiple streams of income, spokes in the wheel, whatever you want to call it. One of them goes away, not a big deal. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Thanks for explaining that. That's interesting and right and good. So appreciate that.
Well, and like you said that no offense to the people on Fiverr, but I don't have, a very close relationship with anybody that I've worked with on Fiverr. Everybody else from like direct email marketing, I actually have somewhat of a relationship where, they might ask me where I live and all this stuff. And I, might send them some pics. One of my clients asked about snow because they had never seen it before and it had just snowed. So I sent them snow, and they're, so you get that too with the direct email marketing. So.
Totally. It's all about relationships, and that's kind of how the whole social media marketing thing kind of ties in too. It's about developing those relationships. One of the things I talked about in that class was starting locally with your marketing and kind of work your way out, because if you can start locally and, there's something kind of that hometown kind of vibe that you can get from people that, I'm just around the corner from you, and you can actually go meet them. Good example of that is the very first time I was actually on LinkedIn promoting myself for Voiceover. I'd had a LinkedIn account for years before that, but for Voiceover, I reached out to somebody who literally works 3 miles from me here. He invited me over. I went over and sat with him and watched him do his work. He was a video editor, and he's been sending me regular work ever since. And when you can look somebody in the eye and, shake hands or fist bump or whatever we're doing these days, and kind of develop that relationship, that goes so long. It's great. So it's all about relationships, and it's hard to do that on a platform too.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes you can't even share some platforms, a lot of them, you can't even share your email address.
That's right.
You can't even say email, and it'll give a red sign, and you'll start to go, they're going to shut me down.
Exactly. So, and that's yet another reason why I don't like them, because they got to get their little cut, right? They got to get their piece of it. Yeah. And I get it. They're providing the platform, they're the matchmakers or whatever, and they're putting, voice seekers with voice talent, and that's fine. But man, it's just so much more freedom to work directly.
Yeah. Go ahead, Hudson. Did you have something else?
That was kind of my main question. That was interesting to me, because there's a lot of people that use platforms. I don't use Voices123 or voices.com just because I'm at least not going to be using pay to plays for right now. So, anyway, Dad, didn't you have a question about, the Telly Award and stuff like that?
Yeah, I guess I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit. I kind of know what a Telly Award is.
I don't.
But maybe you can just tell us what a Telly Award is and what category were you nominated? How did that come about?
This is such a crazy story. This is back in 2018, I believe. I got a job on Craigslist, of all places. Back when I was still looking on Craigslist, and where you could actually find jobs on Craigslist, I just did a search on Craigslist, and this ad popped up, this posting popped up that needed voice talent. So I applied to it, and they hired me. And it was on this It's also on my website, but it was about recycling or washing your recycling. It was kind of a PSA, washing your recycling before you actually send it off to the recyclers. And it was about how China, we send all that stuff to China and they don't take it anymore if it's dirty. So anyway, it was a PSA about that. I recorded it, sent it off, got paid, no big deal. Fast forward probably 3-4 months, I get a message from the guy who hired me saying that, hey, I didn't tell you this to begin with, but I submitted this to the Telly Awards for consideration for their PSA category. And it won. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I just thought you'd like to know that, And I was like, crazy. And I think in fact, I've got it pulled up here. Hang on, let me find the actual. I have a bookmarked here. I've got the actual category, and it was something like best socially responsible web video or something like that. Well, I thought I had a bookmark for it, but maybe I don't. Oh, there it is. And so, yeah, it just completely came out of nowhere. It was a bronze medal. Recycling is the name of the company. And it was for, online commercial PSA.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. Wow. But the Telly Awards in general is like the Oscars for video production.
Yeah.
It's like their little award ceremony thing for video stuff.
And do typically you go there to accept the award, or is it typically not?
No, they I don't even know if they have an actual ceremony itself. Yeah. But because like I said, it won. I didn't even know it had won until he called me, and it was after the fact. And it was crazy. So
how did you spend the $1 million that you received as the?
That's his pool. That's where he got his pool from.
Yeah, right. I wish. Didn't get any money, nothing. I mean, it was just nice to. It was just nice to be nominated, But it was cool. I mean, like I said, it was pretty early on in doing this full time, so it was a nice little recognition. So that's really all I took for it.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's wonderful. Thanks. Yeah, I don't, I did, I know we have just a few more minutes left, Hudson. So I don't know if you had kind of some end questions, or if you wanted Mike to do his little promos or whatever, how you wanted to use this last.
We can do that in
minutes.
just a little bit if you want, if you still had something to say.
I don't have anything unless, maybe Mike, just if you can give us a little synopsis. You do quite a bit on LinkedIn and social media, but especially, would it be true that a lot on LinkedIn, you use that a lot?
I do. I mean, I do what I call the big five, which are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And that's what I did that class on, was those five.
Got it.
But LinkedIn especially is the one that I've had the most success as far as getting work on. And one of the classes that I did in that series was dedicated just to LinkedIn, because there's so much you can do on there. And so, we saved that one to last to do the LinkedIn one. But yeah, I'd say out of all of those, LinkedIn is probably the most important one.
And it's a huge, I mean, it's the biggest, isn't it? The biggest, like,
I don't know if
it has the most people on it or something like that. There's like 1 billion. I don't know.
Could be. I would think that Facebook would be bigger as far as actual users, but I don't know. It's just great for, business networking. I mean, and what's great about it is, for the most part, you don't get a whole lot of stuff, non-business related stuff. It's more professional. You don't get a lot of silly, political stuff or, any stuff that's divisive. It's mostly good, positive business networking, which is fine.
And I think is it moving in a direction, or has it moved in a kind of allowing a little bit more interaction, or am I not hearing things properly? Do you hear anything? So you keep your ears to the tracks there of what's happening with LinkedIn?
They are working on, in fact, they've already launched this. They used to have a system, and I talk about this in the class too. They have a system that they used to call ProFinder, which is a way that you could go on there and find professionals in tons of different categories. accountants or architects or, whatever else. And because they've seen the success of places like Fiverr and Upwork, the freelance type sites, they have retooled that, and they're now doing a freelance marketplace that's a little bit more like that. You can, put out your shingle, people come to you and they can hire you for jobs like that. However, voiceover has not been added yet. And so in the class, I walk everybody through how to go in there and request that voiceover be added. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. So hopefully that with a big influx of people asking for it, they'll add it. But that's the newest thing that they've got going on.
I see.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good insider tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend
pleasure.
with us.
This is
Really,
great. Yeah,
really
you.
kind of you and gracious. Taking
My
time.
pleasure. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Did you just a question about your studio? Is that like a walk-in closet or something that you?
Yes.
This looks really nice.
This is my office out here. So yeah, I repurposed this. I put, extra drywall in and kind of, so, and it's as good as any whisper room I've ever heard. So
nice.
Yep.
There you go.
Anyway,
Hudson.
there it is. I've got my PVC pipe and my moving blankets.
Hey, but here's the thing, dude. If it sounds good, it is good. So don't even worry about what it looks like.
Yeah,
I mean,
nobody ever says anything. It's
No,
not
they
like
haven't.
say, "Hey, are you in a?" That kind of stuff. It's good audio, good voice.
I'm about to build one of those just for travel.
Yes,
Smart.
Because I do quite a bit of traveling. I'm just going to be able to throw it all in a big duffel bag and set it up wherever I am.
you bet.
Nice. We're doing this. We're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Since this works so well, and it's like you can send your audio off to an audio engineer, and they can make it sound like you've got a real nice studio. So
yeah.
Well, Mike, why don't we have you? We'll just wait. We'll have you wait just like 1 second, so our editor can just
Clip it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then could you just tell us about your coaching, all of the things you offer for services, and then maybe your links, and then we can have you send those to us or whatever. That'd be great.
So I guess first let's talk about VO merch, and that's the newest thing that I'm doing now. So VO merch, high quality voiceover related shirts, stuff to put in your booth, water bottles, mugs, mouse pads, t-shirts, jackets, all that kind of stuff with all kinds of cool little slogans to kind of, be some conversation starters. The next would be, I do this thing called a semi-pro demo. So a lot of people that, when you go buy a pro demo, it's, $2,500 plus to do that. And of course, we all know what a DIY demo is. Well, what I do is kind of a hybrid between the two, which is I help you through the process, both in performance and editing and processing and everything. So we basically work together over the course of several sessions where we build a demo together, and it's not a DIY, but there is some DIY elements to it, but it's also not fully pro where you just have the producer do everything. So it's kind of a mix. And so I do that. And then of course the marketing class that I talked about for social media is just socialmediaforvo.com.
Okay.
So social media, FORVO.com. And those are the plugs.
Awesome. Mike, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day, like Dad said, and maybe we'll be able to have you on again sometime and get to know you even more.
Yeah, my pleasure. Like I said, I enjoyed it and love working with you guys on VOMP, and hopefully continue to do so. And looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Awesome.
Best of luck to you. Take care.
Yeah,
And
take
be
care.
safe. Be safe when you're skateboarding, please.
Yeah. Easier
don't want
said than done, but
we
Have
don't
fun,
want you in
though.
an
Have
iron
fun.
lung.
Yeah.
yeah, the lungs, luckily the lungs are better. Now it's just the ribs healing and I'll be fine. But yeah, it's not something I can just kind of flip a switch and turn it off. So people ask me like, when are you going to quit? The answer is never until I'm unable to stand up. That's about the answer.
Good for you. Keep moving.
Thanks.
Okay. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.
It was really great to get to know Mike Hathcote because, he's part of our VO Marketing Pro group, but I didn't really know all those things about him. So it was really nice to get to know him a little bit better. Bill, because you have followed him and stuff like that. I've watched some of his videos. We've had some kind of interactions with him, knew a little bit more about him and stuff like that. So it was a little bit a different situation with Mike. So it was really nice to get to know him from my point of view. So I don't know what you thought about that.
Yeah, a unique guy, a unique background. Demond and Deshaun. Hey, Demond, just come out here for a second.
Again.
Come on out here again. Yeah, come out here again. This is Demond, and he doesn't do skateboarding. You do longboarding, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that's different, I know, but thanks. But anyway, you can, I'll go back behind the camera.
Do what you're good at.
But Mike is a skateboarder, and he had that accident that he talked about. And the boys, they go down hills and stuff with their longboards, both he and Deshaun, and they're really good at it. In their own special way, but it scares me kind of, especially as I'm getting older and such. But, such a unique background. He lives out in Arizona, and he's got that new merch thing, VO merch.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's great. And it was good to get to know Mike, and he's got a lot of great things to offer people as far as coaching and semi-pro demos and different things like that. So you check out his links.
Yeah. And we'll have those, like I said, we'll have those in the description. So,
and we've got more interviewees coming up in the coming weeks, and we might be coming your way if you're watching this for an interview.
So stay tuned. In that situation. All right, next we have our numbers with VOMP, Todd, and me. Stay tuned. All right, and we are back with the original Father-Son Voiceover podcast. In the third segment, we've got our numbers, and we are going to welcome on Drew from VO Marketing Pro and John. So,
where are they? Come on in, guys, and here they are.
Yeah.
Did they see you, John? There's Big John.
There's Johnny boy.
John's our oldest and in charge of VO Marketing Pro, and this is Drew. There he is on the set for the first time.
They're our first couch potatoes. Well, actually, John was.
And they're going to share a microphone. And I don't think, just move it back and forth there a little bit. I don't think it. Yeah, I don't think there's.
As long as you don't hit the,
that's Drew's.
Right here.
Say.
Test 1, 2. This is Drew.
That's Drew. And everybody knows.
And we're on. We're hot.
We're hot. The mic is hot right now. So
did you plan that? Did you think about that when you first started out? Check 1, 2. This is Drew.
I did not. That was all that's just me. Ad lib.
I thought maybe you took time last night when you were laying in bed. Okay, what would be a good?
No, I know that was what just came off the top right there.
Wow.
In improv is what
exactly. That's exactly.
It's from all the improv you've
and
done.
all the cold calling. Yeah, exactly. You just got to be ready. Got to be ready to go.
Yeah. Speaking of Hudson, why do we have Drew? So he's a great guy. He's a brother. He's part owner of VO Marketing Pro. But there's another reason we wanted him on the podcast. All of those things would get him a seat on the couch as a couch potato.
Well, Drew does cold calling for our roster. And the roster was his idea. He came up with us having a roster for the VO Marketing Pro group. And he can tell you more about that because he knows a lot more of the specifics than I do. So we've got him here.
So this is Drew's baby. We kind of kid when we have our meetings that, he goes to bat for the people on vomarketingpro.com, our voiceover website, basically our company website. But
so the thought behind it was mainly to just kind of have a continuation of the marketing efforts. Just a way to see if we can't get some more traffic we kind of started off with rolling it out to mainly the Total Care members. But now we've kind of opened it up to others as well, for a small fee. And we've gotten some good traction out of it. I've cold called for it. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll send out emails on behalf of the roster. And then if there's some warm clients that come from that, then I'll give a call and see why they're interested, what they liked about it. One piece that's kind of interesting, at least to me, is that I get some feedback from some folks that I talk with at all sorts of different contacts that we have, the voice
production companies,
video production companies,
right.
video production companies, the e-learning website or e-learning companies
that use voice agencies, ad agencies.
A lot of times what they'll say, that get good feedback about that we have really good talent on our roster. Yeah. And I think having a smaller number is important as well, because some of the quote unquote competitors, not that they would see us as competitors of theirs, but they have hundreds and thousands maybe who you're constantly going up against. And then, as we've talked about sometimes, joked about, you get this private audition or private chance at a job, and you've got 50 people in there, and that's tough to take. So
like you said, it's like going to the doctor.
Yeah.
And you think you're having a private doctor consult and there's 50 people. That's kind of what it feels like when you're a voiceover talent.
They have a different definition of private, in my opinion. So, but that's some of the feedback we've gotten is that they think that we have really good talent on there, good demos. And so I think we're trying to continue to get traffic to that website and get folks to come there and use us. As opposed to other websites. And we think that that's an opportunity for our talent to be able to get good opportunities for them, good chances at jobs. So that's kind of what I do. And can we talk a little bit about the opportunity that we're going to have here with our website, maybe getting to
we don't have
some
every
pay?
detail, but we do have some details about building out our website more.
Right. Yeah. John has been actually working a little bit with an individual who's helping us get to having kind of an option to have individuals pay right on there, which I think is a nice thing as opposed to what we've had in the past. It keeps everything right there, all in one spot, and they can just deal with the voiceover right there and then make their payment kind of like other pay-to-play sites.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So if people want to check it out, video production companies may be watching this, they can just go to vomarketingpro.com and it says check out our talent or something like that. I think there's about 20 vetted voiceover talent right now.
Correct.
And then me. 20 vetted
and then Hudson. Yep.
Yeah.
And then what else? And then if they were a voiceover talent, if they wanted to join or find out more about it, they could just contact John Barsness at VO Marketing Pro or Joe Barsness at VO Marketing Pro.
Correct.
And there's information there's somebody's email address. I think it's Joe's on the website.
Yep.
Well, that's great. Thanks.
Why don't we get
Appreciate
to
you doing that.
Why don't we get to our numbers? Yeah. John, would you like to start with the VO Marketing Pro Group numbers for this week?
Sure. One last thing that I'll add to that. I don't remember Drew saying it. With regards to the rosters, it's commission free for the clients on their end. So lots of those pay to play, they have to pay a commission to the roster, which they don't have to on our end of things. So that's different than others too. So, so this week, full disclosure, like I said in the Friday update email, we're trying to make sure that we always get the most out of your emails when we send out. And so we held off on sending out for anybody Thursday and today, just because we found that around holidays or, this time of year, that there's times where it's not best to send out and there's not a good return on your emails. It does not mean that we don't get your monthly emails out.
Yeah, you still get the total. It just
still
goes
get your
out.
total. That's not what we're saying.
We just don't want people to delete it or
Correct.
get lost in the shuffle, because Good Friday and Easter is kind of a worldwide thing. There's a lot of countries that celebrate or take time off. So we just didn't want our global database to kind of go to waste.
Yep. And I've been in corporate America working at an insurance place, and you get in on a Monday after that kind of thing. And if you're trying to get through your emails, so we want to make sure that we have the best opportunities or send out the best times for you. So all that being said, we still had 34 warm replies this week.
Nice.
We had 21 auditions and 4 jobs.
Good.
Donnie Barnes got a job.
Good, Dan.
Kim
Good,
Wilson
Donnie.
and Jack Hicks had 2.
Wow, clean sweep bonus.
Jack he had 2 last week.
Yeah.
Jack
Doing
is
really well.
just cleaning up.
My, he's
just
on fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, congratulations to those folks. My warm replies weren't included in that because I didn't get you the numbers. I had 5, and I had 2 auditions this week. And I've got 2 jobs yet to do when I'm done here. Platforms, $1,832, and my direct email marketing was $3,249.40. For my total this week for voiceover, $5,081.40. $5,081.40. So it was a little bit slow for me from the last, I think I had 8,000 3 weeks ago and over 7,200 the last couple of weeks. A little bit slower.
I don't think you also had
Nope.
I don't think you had my numbers for this week either. So I had 3 warm replies. I had 2 auditions. And then I did 11 PowerPoints through Upwork again, so $165. Along with Fiverr, I had 3 jobs, which totaled $100. And then I did some editing for you, which was $40. There wasn't a lot of editing this week, which was fine, but I ended up total with $305 this week. So a little bit better than last week, but still not nothing crazy. Yeah. So, but
you get there.
Still sending out emails like a fiend. So
yep. Keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. So was there something that we wanted to try out?
I think we should. I think we should just break it out. Just try it. Just get really wild and crazy.
Well, Drew had another idea about doing a kind of a segment, but we'll do it within the 3rd segment. It's called the VO Pros against the Average Joes. So
I've got this.
I guess they included me with a VO Pro. So you and I are going to be the pros, and what's going to happen is
you've made money. We haven't made money, so you are a pro.
That's true.
So what I've got is I've got a script here. I pulled it off of voices.com because I'm a member, and I'm going to hand these out to everybody. And I haven't gone. I looked at it because I had to figure out if it was something we wanted to do. So I'm going to get this to you guys. And you can look it over here. And what we're doing is we're just reading a script. And you can see there the role is real person and believable and conversational. Now, this is going to be something, if you got into voiceover, that's the new catchphrase. That's everything is no announcer, real person, believable, conversational, like you're having a conversation with somebody across having coffee or something. And so just one thing to watch out for. What does it mean to be #science-hearted and ready to get started?
So that's what we say.
Yeah, I think so. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I didn't know if we were just going to say what.
And maybe Demond, you could in post, maybe we could put this up, like here and make us look really special again and smart. That's your job. Your job
is to make
us look good.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. And so you're going to maybe I'll just say, and we'll have the script right here, and it'll right on like it did last week.
Even if it does the whole screen for a little bit, that's fine.
And Demond, I want you to pay close attention because we might call on you to be the judge of who you like the best. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll start out, and who wants to go first? Do you want to try it, John?
Sure. Well, John wants to take a crack at it.
All right. So let's see. Do we have? Is this going to be too much pressure? Because this is supposed to be a 30-second spot. Ooh. Should we get our phone? Do we have our phone?
I think it's going to.
I don't know if we should do that.
It's not going to be.
Our phones mess with the audio.
It's going to be fine.
Happens.
Okay, it's going to be fine, but it's supposed to be 30, and that's part of being a VO is being able to know how to hit. How to hit times, but we won't worry about that this time. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. So this is VO pros against average Joes, or at least with average Joes. Maybe we won't be competitive here.
Maybe people will find out we're average Joes.
Yeah, exactly. And
from your experience, and I don't know if you can hear me very well.
Go ahead and pull that microphone over there.
From your experience, when they have these broken out sentence by sentence, I'm assuming that means give it a little time. Is that accurate, or am I misreading that? Meaning that so what does it mean? So that part, and then it means so that we little space in between each one of those sentences.
I would think
I'm
so.
Assuming, okay.
Yeah, and I would think so because this is I don't know how many words this is. Maybe this is 60 words, and typically you can get 70 to 80 in 30 seconds. So they've given you some breathing room for this.
I'm just trying to get a leg up here. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So Big John's going to go first, and whenever you're ready, John. Remember, real person.
John wasn't. He's looking at me like I'm. Once again, I'm trying to make sure I get all the rules right. That's what he was doing right there.
Yeah, I don't. I
wants to
don't
play by the
really.
rules.
You're just gonna do my best, and I don't. I like going. I've always liked in any sort of like speech or competitive thing in class. Growing up, I was always wanting to go first because then
Get it out of the way.
get it out of the way.
I hear you.
So, all right. What does it mean to be #science-hearted and ready to get started? It means we take this symbol seriously. Make that very, very seriously. With on-farm answers and food safety solutions, everyone wants a food supply that can be trusted from farm through processing. But it takes more than wanting. It takes passion and commitment.
Great. And I think you were under 30 seconds. That was
2271.
Oh, Demond is just.
Demond is Johnny on the spot.
What am I doing?
I think I want a chance at the big chair. I think I want to.
You want to go here?
Oh, wow.
You want the
He
headphones
wants-
too? That might
Lights,
scare
camera,
you.
action.
Might scare you. They're kind of loud. Drew, welcome.
Welcome.
All right, let's see here.
Don't knock my
And now,
All right. Make everything a mess.
All right, here we go.
I thought we were just going to shut it down after that one.
Yeah. No, we're gonna take a crack at
Okay.
it. You're first on the leaderboard right now, though.
Hey, I'll take it.
All right, Damon, you ready? I'm taking a lot of breaths.
yeah, I know.
Your cheeks are
He's
starting.
just
Yeah, you're right. Okay, here we go. What does it mean to be #science-hearted and ready to get started? It means we take this symbol seriously. Make that very, very seriously. With on-farm answers and food safety solutions, everyone wants a food supply that can be trusted from farm through processing. But it takes more than wanting. It takes passion and commitment.
Wow.
Got knocked down the leaderboard, my friend.
Nice job.
think so.
Well,
keeping track?
John's was the best right away, just because his was the first one that he did. So
22:16. So that seems to be about the. Did you think it was going longer than that?
I guess I thought I did.
Yeah. So you want me or you?
I'll try
Okay.
it, even though we'll save the best for last,
We'll
so that you
see.
can blow us out of the water.
We'll see.
What does it mean to be #science-hearted and ready to get started? It means we take this symbol seriously. Make that very seriously. With on-farm answers and food safety solutions, everyone wants a food supply that Everyone wants a food supply that can be trusted from farm through processing. But it takes more than wanting. It takes passion and commitment.
Good.
Oh,
Really?
and I messed up.
He missed one very, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, and it's
That would have made up the 8 seconds.
You know,
I
one of
think.
the things
Got real
that-
close.
Yeah, I would have spread that out a little bit more.
One of the things we always say is that it's so easy to speed up because you're kind of nervous. And so I'm going to do my best to try not to speed up, and I'll try to get a little bit longer than 22. So you ready, Demond? What does it mean to be #science-hearted and ready to get started? It means we take this symbol seriously. Make that very, very seriously. With on-farm answers and food safety solutions, everyone wants a food supply that can be trusted from farm through processing. But it takes more than wanting. It takes passion and commitment.
22.
That's all right. Everybody's gonna get a little nervous and speed up.
I'm sorry.
I think, and I,
I
even
think
made a
I
mistake.
saw the Dollar General's hiring down the road. If you need.
I think what I was thinking.
I think I know what happened with the slow week. He had a slow week.
He started out by saying, "No, I'm going to try and slow it down," and then you were faster than all of us.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking is I would be able to cut a little bit of time in between each one. I'd have my engineer do that, my assistant.
Oh, smart.
And then put a second, like a second in between each. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Nope, I wasn't thinking that.
Well, what did you think?
Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, I messed up, so.
Yeah, so did I. What do you think? Here's the thing. Who did you think, honestly? Who did you like read the best? You won't offend anybody.
You gotta come over.
Attention to the clock.
Okay,
You gotta come over.
good cop out. Probably smart man, but it's
We're
kind
all
of
winners.
it's kind of interesting because I'm a ex-radio guy, and so you can pretty quickly get into your radio announcer, and then there's people that are theatrical. But sometimes it's kind of nice to hear people, like I'll hear guys that are doing just a scratch track. You've probably heard this too, Hudson, that they're doing a pretty good job because they're just kind of an average Joe. So sometimes you can do a little bit better being an average Joe when you are an average Joe. So maybe we give our couch potatoes a leg up on that.
Yeah, and maybe the people who are watching this can vote and see in the comments if you have the time to tell us who you thought did the best.
Yeah.
And you won't offend any of us. So at least I don't think so. So that does it for that section in our podcast. So if you have any questions or you want to get a hold of the people at VO Marketing Pro, once again, you can visit the website, vomarketingpro.com. If you want to get on the roster, get a hold of Joe or John, and their emails are on there, especially Joe's. Joe's is basically kind of the main one. And also Mike Hathcote's links and stuff like that will be below. So check out his VO merch store for different kinds of shirts that are tailored to to voiceover. Mm-hmm. So give that a check out. Yeah. And thanks for taking the time to watch the podcast.
And thanks for John and Drew and Demond and everybody that had a part of it. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and thanks for having us.
Thanks for the idea for the
average show.
The rip and read.
The rip and read.
Rip and read. Maybe
Absolute
we'll bring it back again.
Yeah. Maybe voices.com will see this and they'll give us an audition. Anyway. All right. Thanks.